Okay. So yeah, so our first question is like a game on undirected graph is played by two of the players, which are mouse and cat, and who alternate turns. The graph is given as follows. So graph of A is a list of all the nodes B such that AB is an edge of the graph. And now the mouse starts at node 1 and goes first, and cat will start at node 2 and goes second, and there is a hole at node 0. Now during each player's turn, they must travel along one edge of the graph that meets where they are. For example, if the mouse is at node 1, it must travel to any node in the graph 1. And additionally, it is not allowed for the cat to travel to the hole. And then the game ends in three ways. So these are the three ways, like if ever the cat occupies the same node as mouse, the cat wins. If mouse reaches the hole, the mouse wins. And if ever a position is repeated, the players are in the same position as the previous turn, and it is the player's turn to move the game in a draw. Now, given a graph and both the players play optimally, so then you have to return 1 if the mouse wins the game, 0 if cat wins the game, sorry, 2 if cat wins the game, and 0 if game is a draw. So it's a long story kind of. So what here is happening, it's more of a game theory problem. I'll show it in diagram. Okay, let me change. Okay. So let's say your mouse is here, right? Mouse starts from 1, they have mentioned, and your cat is here. So what will happen? In first iteration, your mouse will move here, and second iteration, the cat will move to this state. Now in the third iteration, your mouse will shift from here to here, right? Now cat can go here also, but it won't go because the reason is like if it goes here, then the mouse will come here and there will be no cat, so he will reach the 0th position. So what he will do, rather than moving here, he will just oscillate here itself. Like he'll go here and return and just oscillate between 2 and 5. So what will happen? The mouse will never be able to reach this position to 0. So the match will be a draw in this case, which is the third one, which they are saying. If the positions is repeated, show it. Yeah, if ever the position is repeated, then the game is a draw. Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, I just joined a little late. So
Okay,
could you
okay, sure.
just explain your example one, what you were talking about, how it can be drawn?
Sure, sure, sure. Let me. So what I'm saying, mouse is here. I mean, they have mentioned that mouse will start from position 1 and your
Mm.
cat will start from position 2. So
Mhm.
first iteration mouse will take. So this is the only possibility for mouse to go. Like 1, 2, 3 will go. Mouse will be here.
Mm.
And in second iteration, the cat will move here. Optimally, both of them are playing. We have to understand. Now in third iteration, what will happen? Your mouse will shift here, right? And cat could have shifted here, but the problem is that if cat shifts here, then in the next iteration, this here there will be no cat. So mouse will come here and he can in the next iteration he will reach 0. So to avoid that, cat will keep on oscillating in this 2 to 5.
But is it not like whenever you mark a cell or
Mhm.
any node for a particular cat or mouse, so that will be marked for that? So see, your cat starts from 2. So even if mouse is coming here, and from 4 to 2, even if mouse goes to 2, it's not
Okay.
it's not possible for it to go because it's already reserved by the cat, correct?
Is it
Because
like we, is it? I mean, is it fixed or what? Like if cat visits that position, mouse will not visit that. I mean, mouse can't go there.
so okay, so what is our game actually? See, first is the mouse should read 0, that is one thing,
Mhm. Yeah,
or the cat should catch the mouse. Okay. So
exactly. Yeah.
so when the cat will catch a mouse, like suppose if the cat is sitting at 4, okay,
Okay.
just imagine cat is sitting at
Mhm.
4 and your mouse is already at 3, so now it is the cat's turn, then only 4 can go and catch 3 because mouse is still sitting there, right? But if had it been like the mouse was okay in the 1 position, cat was
Mhm.
earlier in the 2, okay, so
Yeah.
mouse moves to 3, that is fine, okay.
Okay.
So but then when you say your cat moves from 2 to 4, At that time, mouse will run from 3 to 5. Correct.
Because you're done with this story, I think you can close it.
Right. So in that
Yeah,
case, even if
Yeah,
4
onboarding,
mouse is there, yeah, can we
put the
just
damn below.
I think somebody can mute them. Okay. Yeah. Yeah.
okay? So in that case, so
Mhm.
even if your mouse sits at 4 and the
Mhm.
cat was earlier, sorry, mouse is at 3 and cat was at 4. So
Mhm.
mouse in the next step, because it was a mouse move, so it will move from 3 to 5. Correct. So the cat
Yep.
knows that. So in that case, what will happen? Mouse will win. So therefore, cat won't allow the mouse to go to that route. So cat will always occupy the 5 position. Correct.
Okay.
So from one, initially, if mouse was at 1, cat was at 2, mouse will move to 3, and cat will go and sit at 5. So
Yeah.
even whatever the moves mouse does, it's going to be draw, because now mouse will be stuck at 4. He cannot move further.
Why he can't move? He can go to 2.
Why he can go? Because actually that is already a cat position, right? It's already reserved. The cell is done.
Is it like, I mean, if cat visits this position, so nobody, I mean, mouse
Yeah,
can't.
yeah, yeah. It means since the graph is undirected, then if if the cat visits some cell and later if the mouse again tries to visit that cell, this means that cat can again come back and fall in that cell. So in that case, there will be collision of both the animals, and in that case, cat will win. So mouse will never try to jump to that node where the cat already visited.
Okay, okay. Then my bad. I was thinking that it will oscillate at this position, so mouse will never enter this area. That's why. Okay,
Yeah,
then.
that is the condition for draw here, but to see how the nodes will be visited, I think you can use the pigeonhole principle that at max one node can be visited by only one animal. If if both animals try to visit a particular node, this means that at at some other instant, both of them will fall to that node at the same instant of time. And if that happens, the cat will win in that case. So this is why
So,
mouse will never try to jump in that particular node.
what about this one? Can you clarify this part? If ever a position is repeated, the game is a draw. So I was figuring from here only that it will oscillate. That's why it will be a draw. So like what this point is saying?
Yeah, this is actually saying that in some particular cases, uh,
Mhm.
for example, so in some particular cases, neither the cat will meet the mouse and nor the mouse will fall to node 0. So in that case, we have to say that the game is a draw.
Yeah, so
Okay.
see, there will be all possible ways we need to find out, right? So it is all paths. Like if a mouse starts at a path, okay,
Yeah, yeah.
so whenever we want to do it, so even though in some cases the mouse will win or cat will win, so
Mhm.
you'll have to still go through each and every path and find out which will be the best position for each, and which will be the optimal play for each and every candidate, right? So
Yeah.
whenever you start from one actually and start from two, so one actually will have a path. It will go from 3 to 5 to 0, and so two will also go from 4. So two will be stuck somewhere, right? So mouse will win. That is fine, but cat is not going to leave it like that. So cat is going to find some way. So you'll have to go for the other path also. Like you'll have to go from 2 5. So whichever is the best for both of them, because every time mouse will move first, then the second time the move is of the cat. Correct. So the cat also intelligently knows what will be the next mouse move. So how the cat will know? So it's only if it traverses all the paths, right?
Yeah, yeah.
So then only he has to, then only the cat will know about how it will be able to actually prevent the mouse from winning. Okay. And the
So
mouse is also going to do, so mouse objective will always be go to 0. So it's not going to beat the cat, but cat's objective is to beat the mouse, right?
yeah, yeah, yeah. But one query I have. So if mouse goes from 1 to 3, then your cat will go from 2 to 5, right? Now cat
Mhm.
can never go to third 3, right? Because that slot has been booked by the mouse, right?
No, for the cat to win, it has to go and sit exactly at the position where mouse is there. Okay, that is the only win for her.
But then
Right.
why the answer is a draw they have given for this?
Yeah, because the cat will go to
Okay.
5. So next time
Mhm.
mouse is going to move. So
4.
mouse will move from 3 to 4. It's not at
Yes.
that position. And then cat cannot go to 4.
Uh,
Right. So even if it comes, I don't know, even if it comes back, then it will go to, mouse will go to 3. In that case, they will oscillate. So that might be one way to look at the third condition, what you are talking about.
so that means cat can go to mouse position, but mouse cannot visit the cat's position, right?
Mouse objective is go to 0, right? Because it has to win. So for it has to win, it has to go to 0. If it doesn't win, then it is at least trying to prevent itself to not lose, right? So what it will do, it will see that cat doesn't jump on it. So it will try to oscillate between 4 and 3, and then mouse will, so mouse will oscillate between 4 and 3, and cat might just oscillate between 2 and 5. Okay, this is just my thinking, okay? So I'm not
Yeah.
saying this is the only way, but I was just thinking about it. Maybe this is the one way because it's not very easy to understand when it is going to be a draw. Correct.
Yeah. So only doubt is mine is like, if let's say this was initial position of cat moved here. I mean, first mouse will move and cat came here, right? Now cat will go here and mouse will, let's say mouse came here. The mouse went here and cat came here, right? Now it's a mouse turn, so it can't go here because this slot was already occupied by the cat, right?
Yeah, so whenever mouse occupies a position, then the cat cannot go there, and cat occupies a position, mouse cannot go there. But whenever mouse is at a position and cat's move is the next one, and
Mhm.
it can go to that node, then it surely go and it will win. That is the only winning situation for a cat. Like the mouse has a winning situation to go to 0, but cat cannot go to 0, right?
Okay.
Cat will never take that path to the 0.
And then it will considered as win if cat directly from 2 to 0 if it goes.
No, no. See, what they say is the hole is such a small that the cat cannot fit, or it's only the mouse can fit in that. So the cat is not going to go to hole at all. So
So
that path is completely, it's not going to go. Okay, it's again based on the discussion what I'm following everywhere. There's nothing written in the problem statement about it, but that is
yeah.
the way I look at it because the cat doesn't make sense to sit on the hole. Okay, so because the mouse objective is to go to the hole, and cat's objective is to go and beat the mouse.
Mhm. So what conclusion I am drawing is like what you are saying. I mean, if cat visit that position, then mouse can never go to that position. Is
Cat
it
visit that position, then mouse.
will
Yeah, of
never
course,
go?
because that is already occupied by one of the animal, right?
No, but if it moves, let's say initially cat was here, right? And my mouse is here. So my mouse moved here now, first iteration. And my
Mm-hmm.
cat, in by that time, cat moved here, right? And now
Mm-hmm.
it's a second iteration. My mouse will move here and
Mm-hmm.
cat will move here. Okay. So now
Cat
cat is
cannot
at
move to mouse place, no, because mouse is already occupied that tree, isn't it?
a mouse has moved in the, I mean, here is no mouse now. It has
No, but
already moved.
but you are marking those nodes that they are the path of the mouse in that particular traversal. So if you are just considering one traversal now, right? So you
Mhm.
are actually making them reserved nodes. So it doesn't make sense for cat to sit on mouse place.
So that means whichever position is visited by whichever animal, the other can't move to that place.
Yeah, that is what I think. But even if
Okay.
the way you think like that, if cat goes and sits on tree and
Mhm.
mouse, if even if the both the animals are allowed to go, in that
Uh,
case mouse will win. Do you know that? Because so cat
yeah,
will go and sit on tree. Yeah,
mouse will come here, and by that
yeah.
time, let's say cat
So
take this jump, mouse.
yeah,
Yeah.
so that is not the intent. So it is going to see cat is also going to play optimal
Uh-huh.
as well as the mouse is going to play optimal. So how we can find it's going to play optimal by just going through all the paths.
Yeah, but the point which you said that is not mentioned in the question, right? That if
I
this
know,
place is
I know. That is what I'm saying. I'm just thinking loud. And how to come to a draw? Okay, this is the way I was thinking. This
yeah, no,
might
it's
be
a
the,
good
yeah,
inference. So if since they have given this inference, that's why you are able to draw that what you are saying, right?
absolutely, absolutely, yeah, exactly. See, because if
Because
you
I
see
was
the like example two, it's very straightforward.
Yeah, that's a statement. There is nothing in example two. One is
Mhm.
only like confusing.
Mhm.
Here, like cat is at 2 and mouse is at 1. So he goes 2 to 3. By that time, he will reach 2 0.
So 1 to 0 directly is going to go. The first move will be
Sorry,
winning.
first iteration mouse will take, so he will win the match here.
Mm.
Okay. I thought regarding that once this place is visited by cat, it won't be. But then again, I didn't find anything here like you can't. They haven't mentioned explicitly anywhere, right?
No, they don't actually. This is what it is mentioned. So first, I looked at this whole problem statement. I thought it was a simple BFS traversal, just
Yeah.
like the bidirectional BFS, and see if cat mouse reaches 0, he is winning, or else if both of them actually are going to meet at some mid position, the cat will win, or it will be draw. But it is not that simple, right?
Yeah, because this one more version like was recently as in latest context of it, cat and mouse 2. This is one, right?
Yeah,
That
let's
is
not
one.
go to that. Let's not
Yeah,
go to the second one. Yeah, let's stick
yeah,
on
yeah,
this one only.
yeah. Hmm.
Yeah. Okay. So Abhishek, what do you want to add in this?
Yeah, yeah. You were saying some pigeon.
Yeah,
Yes. Sorry,
so
please. Uh-huh.
Yeah, yeah, go
so
ahead.
if a particular animal visits a node, then this means that if the other animal tries to visit that node, then uh, the first animal can return back to that node. So this means that if uh, if let's say mouse visits node 3,
Mm-hmm.
let's say cat visits node 3,
Mm-hmm.
and let's say mouse is at 4,
Mm-hmm.
and cat goes to node 5,
Mm-hmm.
and then mouse comes to 3. But 3 was already visited by the cat, so this means that the cat come back to 3, and this will give a winning position for cat. So this means that if let's say 1, 2, 3 are nodes, and let's say cat visited node 3, and then if mouse visits node 3 again,
Mm-hmm.
and cat is either at 1 or 2, it
Mm-hmm.
can again return back to 3, because this is undirected graph, so the cat can go any direction.
Right.
So this is why one node will be visited only once. And if one node is visited twice or more than twice, this means that either it is a case of cycle, which means that the either the animal is repeating its path, or this might happen that two animals fall to the same node. So these two are the only case if a same node is visited twice or more than two times.
Hmm. Okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
So
So
this
so this
directed graph
this
ideally.
comes from the Paget node. This comes from the Paget node principle. If we have n nodes and
Mm-hmm.
we have something greater than n, let's say n plus 1 or n plus 2,
Mm-hmm.
then this means that either of so if we have n buckets and we have something which is greater n buckets, and we have something which is greater than let's say we have k balls such that k is greater than n, then in either of at least one bucket there will be number of balls which will be always greater than 1.
Mm-hmm.
So this is the Pareto principle, and this is what it is being used here. That is, if the total number of nodes which are visited, or the number of turns which we are counting, if it goes greater than n plus 1,
Mm-hmm.
this means that either of one of the nodes will be visited more than once. And in
Mm-hmm.
that case, either it is being repeated, which is a case of cycle, or either both animals fall to the same node.
Mm-hmm.
So this is why total number of turns has to be always less than n plus 1 value. Or it can be less than n value as well, but uh, they have taken all the test cases in such a way that even n plus 1 does not pass. So the path which has length n plus 2 will always try to make either of a draw, which gives us a cycle kind of structure, or it can either give us a collision where the cat will win.
Mm-hmm.
But let's say we don't take this case, that is both the animals fall at the same position because they are trying to play optimally. So the
Mm-hmm.
mouse will never try to jump to the same position where cat already visited. So the first case where both the animals fall to the same position won't be considered. But the cycle one can be considered. For example, uh, either of the animal goes to 2 and again it comes back to 0. Then in that case, this is a case of cycle, and this means that it is visited twice. So as it is mentioned, if there is a case of repeating path, then we can declare that case as a draw.
Okay.
So we just have to check if the total number of turns, uh, if it is greater than n plus 1, then we can take this as a draw, which is number 2.
Right.
And for all other cases, uh, where, for example, the coordinate matches, if the coordinate matches, that is the coordinate of cat becomes equal to the coordinate of mouse, then in that case cat wins. So we can return, I guess, 1 in that case. And if the coordinate of mouse becomes 0, then in that case the mouse wins, and in that case we can return 0. So these are the base cases. If number of turns is greater than n plus 1, then this is a case of draw. So in that case we can return 2. So these are the only 3 base cases which we have to take care of.
Yeah.
So turn should be greater than 2 times the length of the nodes, right? I mean,
Yeah,
moves
it should be 2n, right? Because we have to have mouse as well as cat to move at least n turns.
No,
Because that is
but
the fact.
this turn is total number of turns.
Yeah,
Sum of
yeah.
the yeah.
Okay, both the moves of cat and mouse. Okay, then
Yeah,
it's
cat
good.
plus yeah. So cat plus the moves of cat and moves of
Mouse.
mouse is turns.
Good. Okay.
Yeah. So these are the base cases. But again, how to uh, get the total optimal strategy? So to get the optimal strategy, since this has been mentioned that the cat will start from a given node and the mouse will start from a given node, and the mouse will try to go first. So we can, let's say the mouse starts from 1. So the mouse can go to all its neighbors,
Mm-hmm.
and then uh, it will see what the neighbors are returning, because after some values this might happen that this base case will be reached and the neighbors will be returning some values.
Mm-hmm.
So let's say if one of the neighbor goes to 0, this means that let's say the mouse is at 5 and it goes to 0. So in that case this is a optimal strategy of mouse to win. So in that case we can return 0 here. So this child will return 0. Similarly, if at one of the nodes the cat matches the mouse, then it will return 1. And if at one of the nodes the turn becomes greater than n plus 1, then it can return 2. And now how do we decide which is the optimal strategy? The optimal strategy says that if mouse wins, always try to make the mouse win.
Yeah, that is one thing.
And if the mouse tries to draw or the cat tries to draw, then try to draw the total game. So we will see if any of the nodes return 0. This means that the mouse wins, so we can directly return 0 here, because this is the optimal strategy. But if none of the nodes return 0, but any of one of the nodes return a draw case, then in that case we can return the draw, because that is also its optimal strategy, because the mouse will not be losing in that case.
Yeah.
But if nothing works, then this means that the mouse will always lose. So now we have to return what the winning position for cat gives is, and it is 1, I guess. So we can return 1.
So for every node, you'll visit all the
No, cat
neighbors.
will be 2, right? Cat will be
Yeah,
maybe.
okay. I think I
Yeah.
misplaced
Yeah, that's
this
okay.
value.
Yeah, that's fine.
Yeah, yeah. So this is for mouse,
Mm-hmm.
and for mouse we have to visit all its neighbor, and then we can just track down what the value the neighbor returns, and we can process the most optimal first, then the second most optimal, which is draw, and if nothing works, then just return losing case where the mouse loses. Similarly for cat, we can try moving to all its neighbors, except one neighbor which is 0, because it is mentioned that the cat can never fall to the whole, which is 0. And then again we will always try to get the most optimal one. So this means that if any of the nodes returns 1, then I will first return, because this is the most optimal strategy that the cat can. And if none of the node returns 1 and one of the node returns a draw case, then I will return a draw first. And if none of the nodes return either of the winning case, the draw case, means that the mouse wins, I can return 0.
Okay. Could you please repeat the last sentence because your voice was breaking?
This makes sense.
No, could you please repeat the last sentence? I didn't hear it.
Yeah, you were saying regarding that, what do you say, all the three values, right?
Yeah.
Like cat can't go to 0 because that's banned, and now the two values are there, 1 and 2. So again, since cat has to play very optimally, right? So first he will go for the draw situation. I mean, draw situation means he's making the mouse defeat, right? So he will first pick 1, otherwise the last option is 2.
Hey, yeah. Go ahead, Abhishek.
You are mute, I think, Abhishek.
Yeah, Abhishek, unmute yourself.
Okay. Yeah. So did I explain the optimal strategy for cat?
Yeah, just go ahead. Yeah. Can you please repeat that once again?
Yeah, so similarly for cat, we will always try to take the most optimal strategy, that is first try to win. So if the cat tries to win, we will first return 1, because that is the winning case for cat. And if any of the neighbors return the second most optimal strategy, which is the case of draw, then I will first return draw. And if none of the neighbors return a win or draw case, then this is the case where the mouse wins, so I have to return a 0.
Okay, so the cat has to return that way. Okay. But the
Yeah,
mouse
so
will do it the other way.
so the optimal strategy is first, if any of the neighbors returns a win case, return a win. If uh, one of the neighbors return a draw and none of the neighbor returns a win case, then draw is the second most optimal strategy. And if none of the two works, that means that that possible path is a losing case. This is valid for both the animals, because even draw is the optimal one, because in that case none of the animals are losing.
Yeah, you don't want to lose, but you can at least draw. That is
Yeah,
right.
yeah. And these are the three base cases which we need to consider in our recursive call. Uh, and I think some of the states will be getting repeated, because the states would be the position of cat, then the position of mouse, and the total number of turns. So these three are the states which we need to consider. And this might happen that after cat made some move and mouse made some moves, after some turn, the coordinates repeats itself. So in that case, we just have to return whatever previously we calculated, and this is how we can just memorize that part.
Right. Yeah. So
Yeah.
normal
So
DFS top down should work, right?
yeah. The normal DFS just go to each of the neighbors, and whatever the value neighbors returns, just try to optimize your uh, the game. So you try to optimally choose whatever the neighbor returns or the path returns.
Yeah, makes sense.
Yeah. Okay. So if we go with the implementation of this, uh, yeah. So I've used a get function for the recursive call, and the cat denotes the position of cat and mouse denotes the position of mouse and the total number of moves. This is done by the both cat and mouse. And this has been mentioned that the cat starts at node 2. So this is why initially I passed 2 in the list or the recursive call, and the mouse starts at node 1. So this is why the coordinate of mouse is at 1, and the total number of moves in the beginning will be 0. So this is how I have passed the initial parameters in the recursive call. And now let's see how I declared the DP vector. Since I have 3 states, and we can see that the moves can never go beyond the size of the graph itself. And it has been mentioned that the graph size can be at most 50. And we already saw that the total number of moves cannot go beyond n plus 1. So this means that at max, the total number of moves can go 51. So this is why I've declared a three-dimensional vector of first 2 states to be the coordinates, which will be the length of the graph, that is the node number, and the third would be the number of moves, which can go at max 51. So I declared that particular as 52. And now if we go with the implementation of the recursive call, if the total number of moves is greater than n plus 1, return 0. This is the draw. If the coordinate of cat is equal to the coordinate of mouse, return 2, because cat wins in that case, which is this condition. And if the coordinate of mouse goes to 0, then return 1, because this is the case. If mouse wins the game, return 1. And before all this, I've declared a check draw. So draw means that the children nodes will either return the value as 0 in that case. And if that is the case, I can just set this or I can toggle the check draw variable to true, and I can at last check if none of the case gives me a winning condition, and if some case gives me a draw, then I can return draw in that case.
Yeah.
But if nothing of this sort comes, then I have to return the lose case.
Yeah.
So initially, since the mouse starts, so and the move number is 0, so this is why all the even moves will be for the mouse, and all the odd moves will be for the cat. So now I iterate through all the child nodes of the given node, and first I get the value for the recursive call for that particular child node. And if at any instant I see that for mouse I get the winning case, then that is the most optimal strategy. Just return that particular answer. But first memorize it and then return 1. But
Yeah, so you
if
are not immediately returning, because you never know at the very top what you will come, right? So you just have to store it at the lower levels.
yeah. And if any of the calls do not give me the most optimal strategy, but gives me one draw case, then I can toggle my check draw variable. And if none of them gives me a winning case, then out of the for loop or iterating through all the children, I can just check if I toggled my draw variable. If I toggled it, this means that I can choose my second most optimal strategy, which is draw, and the draw number corresponds to the value 0. So I can first memorize this and then I can return 0. And now, if none of them works, then just return when the mouse loses, and the mouse loses when the cat wins, and cat wins when the number is 2. So return 2.
Yeah.
So if none of the optimal strategy works, that is the winning and the draw case, just return the lose case. Similarly for cat, the thing is same, but first I have to check if the child node does not correspond to the node 0, because this is mentioned that it is not allowed for the cat to travel to the hole or the node 0. So I have to check if the child node is 0 for a particular node, don't iterate to that particular node. Other than this, same strategy follows. If one of the child node returns me a winning case, which is 2 for cat, just return that particular case because that is the most optimal strategy for cat. Other than this, if any of the case does not, if none of the case returns me a winning case, but returns me a draw case, just toggle the check draw variable. And at last I can check if I toggled it, return the draw case, which is the second most optimal strategy. Other than this, if nothing works, then return the lose case for cat, which is winning for mouse, which is 1. So return 1.
Yeah, Abhishek, one thing, you are actually moving, that is your moves, the moves variable parameter, correct, which you pass in for the get. So if you
Yeah,
look at the move, you are incrementing in the even as well as odd case, right?
yeah,
So is it not you are actually doing it two times? You
yeah. So this is why when I said m plus n is m plus c is equal to turns. So this is how this comes. Comes because for odd cases, the mouse will uh, travel, and for the even cases the mouse will travel, and for the odd cases the cat will travel, and this is how the final total number of moves will come.
Yeah, but the total number of moves in this case will be two moves, right? 2 into n, isn't it?
Okay, let's see. 0, 1, 2, 3. So here the mouse moves, here the cat moves, here the mouse moves, and here the cat moves. And if finally I have 4 total number of moves, then this means that the cat moved twice and the mouse also moved twice.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that is right. But you are actually moving two times, no, in this case. So if you say 2 is your n, okay,
Yeah,
whatever you are comparing with, what is that? The total
yeah.
number
N
of,
is the total number of nodes.
yeah, the total number of nodes, right? So now you are actually having 4, which means you are doing it 2 n's, isn't it? So should it not be your move should be greater than 2 n, because in your case it will be like half of what you are going to traverse now, isn't it?
Yeah,
Yeah, it's working,
yeah,
but
yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah, the reason I did n plus 1 because if we have 4 nodes and let's say the mouse visits 3 nodes
Mm-hmm.
and the cat visits 2 nodes,
Mm-hmm.
then the total number of moves comes out to be 5, which is greater than 4.
Yeah,
This
so
means
one
that
greater.
one of the nodes is visited, at least one of the nodes is visited twice.
Yeah. So I
And
think
that
both
was the case,
together, yeah. Mm-hmm.
and that was the case when draw occurs.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So both of
So,
the case, if you move, that also
yeah,
should be sufficient. Yeah. Okay.
yeah,
No worries. So that also worked. Yeah. Or else even if you make it more also, it's just going to consume more time, but still it's going to be
yeah,
fine.
yeah, it is consuming more time, I guess.
Yeah.
So this is the implementation, and some of the sub problems will be repeated. That is, after some number of moves, either of the cat or mouse tries to go to the same child node, and
Mm-hmm.
in that case, if we have already calculated that value, we can just return that particular value. So we can just check if we have already visited that particular path.
Mm.
If we have, just return that value.
Yeah. So that will be the memoization, right?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Okay. So
Similarly,
actually, it
this,
boils down to the very simple,
yeah,
what
yeah,
do you say, the DFS, DP.
yeah,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, yeah. So this is the Python implementation
Mm-hmm.
to make it concise. Uh, this is just same. If moves is greater than the length of graph plus 1, return 0. If the mouse coordinate is 0, return 1, and mouse coordinate is 2, mouse coordinate is equal to cat coordinate, then return 2. And this is just the simple uh, DFS call for each of the particular animal, which can be made sure using the moves. If moves is even, this is for mouse, and if move is odd, this is for the cat.
What is this cache thing that you mentioned in line number 3?
Yeah, this is the LRU cache of the. Uh, so I think it is for the only for Python where they have included this in the inbuilt uh, implementation of Python.
Yeah, so it is for the memoization.
Yeah, so if get, let's say I already calculated get of 2 comma 3 comma 9, and uh, again after some of the calls I try to again call 2 comma 3 comma 9, then it will first check in my cache. If I have already calculated this, it will return that value. If it is not present, then it will go in this function, which is same as the memoization part in C++.
Yeah. So
Yeah,
it's
got it.
caching the previous results. Yeah.
Yeah, and we don't have to use an extra dictionary here.
Yeah, that's so cool.
Yeah, yeah. I think even yesterday I showed one of the implementation where we use this cache.
Yeah. So either you use the LRU cache or the cache, right?
Yeah, yeah. I think this even this cache is a implementation of the LRU cache only.
Mm-hmm.
Uh,
But you said it is
yesterday I
some
gave,
wrapper. Mm-hmm.
yeah, yesterday I gave a theory. Even I have not studied that, but
Mm-hmm.
uh, even the implementation will be the implementation of LRU cache only.
Okay.
Mhm. So doubly linked list and hashmap.
Okay.
Yeah, yeah. So this is why even this implementation is not so time consuming uh, because all the repeated calls are stored in the cache.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Uh, Also, the time complexity here appears to be n cube, but because if you see the states, it it actually depends on the size of the total number of nodes, but the moves actually depends on the total number of child of a particular node.
Mm-hmm.
Because if the child of a particular node is less, then this move will not go beyond a certain limit.
Right.
and and if it falls back to some node, then we can just return the memoized one. So this is why the moves actually does not uh, will not always go beyond this n plus 1, but it will always depend on the total number of the maximum or the sum of the child nodes of each of the particular node in the graph. Yeah, so this is why the complexity will be somewhat like uh, n into n into sum of the child nodes for each of the particular nodes. And if this value is smaller than n, then this we cannot consider this particularly as n, but we can take for the worst case it as n cube.
Yeah.
In worst case, it will visit all the neighbors. I mean,
Yeah,
all the
yeah,
children.
yeah. And the space complexity, as we have seen, it is exactly n cube because we already declared a vector of size n cross n cross n. If and n is the worst case size of the given graph, so we can take this as n cube for the space complexity.
Yeah. So this actually, as per the lead code, the the timings are also very good. They are like in the upper range, correct?
Hmm.
Yeah,
Because they have there are many implementation of the same problem, right?
BFS also they are using. Yeah.
Yeah, even the solution talks about the BFS approach, right? Or there is a topological sort and all that stuff. But I think this still wins the one with what you just showed, the DFS way. That still gives a very good time results. Because I think for the BFS, you still have to remember the previous positions and then you need to construct a lookup table. Okay, and then you have to go to the lookup table and find your previous position because you still have to go all the way for all the nodes for both of them, the cat and the mouse. So that
Yeah.
acts as
So
an addition in BFS.
yeah. So how the BFS will work,
Mm-hmm.
but the implementation will be a bit tricky. The let's say this is the total number of states, which is the coordinate of mouse, cat, and the particular turn. And this turn will only take two values, which is 0 and 1,
Mm-hmm.
because 0 will correspond to mouse and 1 correspond to 0. Now this so this particular node will either return 0, 1, or 2. And how do we reach this particular node? We can reach this particular node from all the parent node of this particular node.
Mm-hmm.
And now again from the parent node, we have to pick the most optimal strategy. So this means that for the parent node, it will have too many children, and out of all these children, whatever value they have, we have to take the most optimal ones,
Right.
which is first take the winning case,
Mm-hmm.
then the draw case, and then the losing case.
Mm-hmm.
And the here the base condition would be, how do we set the values for this? So these values will be set if the coordinate of mouse and the coordinate of cat is same, and the turn doesn't matter, either it is 0 or 1. In
Mm-hmm.
that case the cat wins. So we will set all the values whatever number corresponds to the winning case of cat. Similarly, uh, if the mouse falls to 0 and cat is at any of the coordinate, and it doesn't matter which turn it is, so which turn for the animal it is, the mouse will always win.
Mm-hmm.
So these two are the cases. So these two are the base case from which the parents will decide which one to choose for the most optimal strategy. Okay, I think we have skipped the draw case. How to take the draw ones?
Yeah, but in this case also, see, you're doing a BFS, but still you want to find the parents in that. Sorry, you're doing the BFS, but still, when you want to find the parents, you have to use the DFS to find the parents. Correct? You're
Yeah,
using a
we
simple.
have
So
to
it's like
iterate.
a combination of
So
both of them.
because yeah,
Uh-huh.
since it is an undirected graph,
Mm-hmm.
from the children we have to find the parent.
Yeah. So therefore, it adds more time complexity than the DFS way.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, and even the implementation will be too heavy.
Hmm.
Uh, if if we relate it with the DFS one is just trying to do the recursive call and memorize everything.
Yeah. It is more simpler. Absolutely.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Hmm.
Even the total number of submissions are too less for this particular problem.
Yeah, that's fine. It is a difficult problem. It is difficult. I think the mouse cat and mouse 2 is also more difficult, right?
Yeah,
Mhm.
yeah. I think in the solution they have mentioned one a research paper where they have mentioned that for directed and undirected graph, this will be a p complete problem.
Yes, that is
So
what I said. Yeah.
so I think the proof, even the proof does not exist for the this particular question. So this will
Yeah,
be
I would
hard.
actually, don't display the solution in when it's in a recording state. Yeah, it's
Yeah,
copyright. Yeah. So, Abhishek, just move to
yeah.
your description tab. Yeah. Don't share it when
But
it's
it's not.
recording.
But it's not a premium question, right?
It is.
No, it's not.
No,
It is
no,
not?
it's not. No,
Oh,
no.
then my bad.
It's not.
Sorry.
Yeah.
Okay, okay. Then sorry about that. Yeah.
Yeah, you want to share, Abhishek?
No, we can, I think, move ahead.
Yeah, he was just going to
Oh,
show the paper, right? So yeah, no problem.
Hmm. Okay.
Cool.
Next is our like reduce array. Uh, what do you
You
say?
you had your implementation, right, Shashank? Or did
Yeah,
you?
yeah. Same thing what Abhishek showed.
Okay,
That's why I skipped it.
okay, no worries. Yeah.
Like same turn he's taking positive turn, right? I mean, I'm using that functool LRU cache to memorize those states, and this is for the mouse turn. The rest is for the cat turn, and these are like what you say, the position initially is 0, right? I mean, at the turn. So if it is if it is 0, then you'll return 1. Like 1 is for the drop. I mean, the mouse wins. This is for the mouse. Okay, the mouse wins. And if position of this mouse is equal to cut, then you continue. Otherwise, you explore in all the directions, and whatever result you get, depending on the result, this follows. If mouse wins, it returns 1. If it is 0, the game is a draw. And this is a copy for the cat. It's almost same whatever is it, exactly.
Okay, sure.
Yeah. So this is like array is given, and you have to choose a set of integers and remove all occurrences of them, and you have to return the minimum size of the set so that at least half of the integers are removed. So choosing 3 and 7 will make your new array will be this, right? So these two numbers are these two are the minimum number of numbers because they have maximum frequency in your array, right? I mean, 3 is 4 and this is 1, 4 plus 1, 5, and that will be like, it will remove more than half of the elements. So these two is the answer for it. And here 7 itself, if you remove, it will be wiped out. Yeah.
Okay.
So you're like, yeah, I mean, you can take a map, generate a frequency of it, right? And sort the frequency based on the values and add them and just check if those values are greater than the length of the array, then those two are the numbers, minimum numbers, which is used to remove. Or you can use to for loop, maintain the counter for each of the variables, each of the new numbers.
Okay, so you mean to say either you sort it or you use an extra space. You like a map, then you do frequency counting and you start with the highest frequency, right?
Yeah.
And then you keep on adding the number of
Till the
frequency
point you
values.
find length of array by 2. I mean,
Okay.
till the count you found that it's greater than length of array by 2.
Right.
So this is what I'm creating a counter, I mean, frequency of the elements and taking their values and sorting it in a reverse order, descending order, right? And corresponding to each key, I'm collecting the count, and every time I'll check if the total count is greater than half the size of array, then you return index +1, otherwise we return 0.
So here your time complexity is still going to be
n log n. Yeah, because I'm sorting the map.
Yeah, if
Based
your
on the
map
value.
would have been of all 111 frequency, or all
It will
numbers
be-
would have been unique, yeah, then only it would be n log n. Yeah, that is the reason. Okay,
Worst case.
right, makes sense. So that is a good one. Or else what is the other way to do it?
Other would be.
I think that is the most optimized one.
Right. This is the most optimized one. Yeah. So the sorting with using a sorting and using a what do you say customized comparator would be one way to do it, isn't it? Yeah. But this
Yeah.
is most better way because there also you're still going to have some space. You'll still use some space, so there will be some space consumption in both of these cases. So still this one is more optimized.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, then we can take next. Okay, this is your, sorry. This is a Topli's matrix. Yeah. M cross n matrix is given. Return true if the matrix is Topli's, otherwise return false. So it is defined that if every diagonal from top left to bottom right has same elements, like this one, I mean 1 1 1 2 2 2 3 3, and here 5 5, and this is 9 only, this is 4. I mean,
So this is like all the diagonal elements has to be same.
Yeah.
And it doesn't matter which diagonal, all the diagonals in the particular matrix.
Not the off one, right? Not this one.
Yeah, not
Off
from right to left.
on diagonals.
All the diagonals should be from left to right.
Yeah.
Oh, so those are the anti-diagonals and this is the diagonal.
Yeah.
So in this case, so we could use, so it becomes more simpler if we traverse all the diagonals, correct?
Yeah, and check the elements.
Right,
Yeah, I
right.
think brute force kind of, right? I mean, same
Yeah,
thing, whatever they have told, we have to simulate like what
yeah.
optimization can be here. Yeah.
But is it possible to do that? I was just thinking loud.
Yeah, I've done that
Yeah,
only.
so
Like,
uh,
No, no, this is the
yeah, so
optimized version.
I think, yeah, this is the optimized one. I think so we can see the starting values of each of the diagonals. So what are the starting values in this particular diagonal? It is 9, 5, 1, 2, 3, 4. So
Mm-hmm.
this means that all the elements in the X, so all the elements in the first column and the first row are the starting points of each of the diagonal.
Mm-hmm.
And now, since we know which are the starting points of each of the diagonal,
Mm-hmm.
we can start iterating through each of the diagonal and then check if their values are same or not.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So maybe you can form a list also of all of them
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
and then
Yeah.
go and visit
Or
each
a
one. Mm-hmm.
yeah, or a
So
set
it is doable.
kind
Yeah.
of.
Yeah. So yeah, set or list. Yeah. So
Yeah.
that is
So
doable.
okay, I'm not taken. Okay. So if there is some value x,
Mm-hmm.
y, z, z,
Mm-hmm.
z, then these values are the starting point of the diagonal.
Mm-hmm.
So we can start our traversal from this point. Let's say we start our traversal from 7. And how do we go to the next point? Just add +1 to both the the index value, the column value, and the row value. And if at
Mm-hmm.
any point it goes beyond the row value or column value,
Mm-hmm.
just stop your iteration. So
Right.
when I add something here, this goes beyond my uh, the row and column value, so just stop the iteration. Similarly, for 2, I can just add 1 to the row and the column value, and I will move to 1. And here only I can see that this values does not correspond to 1 value, so I can just return false here.
Mm-hmm.
And this is how we have to do. For 5, it will be 5 to z. Then for 3, it will be 3 z and z. Similarly, we just have to iterate through this direction.
Correct.
and
So
why
this is
myself?
just the first.
Okay, go ahead, go ahead.
So this is just the first column, and this is the first row.
Yeah.
So first we can iterate through the first column, and then we can iterate to the first row.
Mm-hmm. So this is good. I think if you look in the problem statement below, it talks about the follow-ups, right? So it talks about the two follow-ups. One is, what if the
Yeah.
matrix is stored on the disk and the memory is limited such that you can only load one row at a time. So I think this approach will be helpful in that case, isn't it?
Yeah, because we are at at max we just need these values,
Yeah, if you just use
which are
one
the
of the
value.
diagonal. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So I just need these values at a time,
Mm-hmm.
and then I can just compare all these values. Similarly, these values I need,
Mm-hmm.
these values. But the most easiest implementation is whenever you are at any point, let's say 2,
Mm-hmm.
just check the starting point of that particular diagonal and compare the value. If it is same, then just continue. If it is not same, then uh, just return false in that case.
Yeah. So that is what
So
Shashank was
yeah.
also
So
implementing.
how do we find the starting point of some particular node? Just find the minimum of x and y and subtract. Uh, so find minimum of x and y and subtract this from both the coordinates. So when you subtract
Okay.
minimum from both the coordinates, you will fall to your initial point of the particular diagonal. So let's say let me take the most easiest one, 2 comma 2, the minimum will be 2. So when you subtract 2 from each of the particular nodes, you will get 0 comma 0. And we know for 2 and 2 it is the main diagonal. So
Mm-hmm.
the first coordinate is 0 comma 0.
Mm-hmm.
Similarly, this coordinate will be 2, 1, I guess, and the minimum value will be 1. So subtract 1 from these, and you will get 1, 0, which is this coordinate, this particular node, and it is the starting point of the this particular diagonal. So you can just compare the value to the particular node.
Okay. Uh-huh.
Yeah. So this is what I've even implemented. But just traverse through each of the particular nodes and just find the starting point of the diagonal. How do you find it? First, find the minimum of both the coordinates and subtract it from the current coordinate. So if you subtract it, then you will fall to the first first node of that particular diagonal. And then if the value does not match to the current cell, just return false. And if none of this returns false, just return true.
Yep. That's perfect. Yeah.
So for 2, it will be this 2. For 3, it will be this 3. For this 1, it will be 1. For 5, it will be 5. For 5, it will be 5 again. And for this 2, it will be 1, and 1 and 2 are not same, so we can return false in that case.
Right. Yeah. So in Shashank's case, he was trying to compare the previous row.
Plus
Uh,
Yeah,
one.
these two values.
Yeah.
So that's
but
a
just
brute.
Yeah.
That's a brute force only, right? Why that's optimized? I didn't understand what I was saying.
the brute
I think
force
that is
is
the,
what he was talking. Is talking the first.
yeah, this is what we have to implement here.
Mm.
Even this, the follow-ups which they have mentioned, uh, anyways, we have to iterate through all the nodes. And this is why the complexity will come out to be n cross m. And even our approach, we're comparing the comparing either the adjacent values or the extreme start point of the particular diagonal. We have to iterate through each of the nodes.
Yeah.
So this is why I was saying it for the optimized version. And here we are not trying to use any particular space, but here in one of the implementation, we have first have to load it from the memory. And in another again, since we are allowed to store only a particular row, so first we have to load it somewhere. So loading will again take some amount of space.
Yeah. You can chunk it and yeah, makes sense.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, here like I was going to each of the rows and columns and I'm just checking this. I mean, if you're at this one, this it will check with this one. The moment I find they are not matched, so you'll return false. So I didn't understand why it is a optimized one. It looks like it's a brute force only, right? Going through the diagonal and just checking if they're
No,
matching.
you are doing this in O of m by n. That is the
Yeah,
that is the most optimized you can do, right? You cannot do more better than this one as
what
per the
would
time complexity.
brute force then?
Brute force was very different. What he said is you go to the first row and the first column and pick up any element, okay, and then you
Yeah.
traverse its diagonals.
Okay, from
Yeah,
okay. First
right.
element you pick.
Right. So in that case, we are going to traverse m and n diagonals. Right, m plus n diagonals.
Yeah.
Yeah. It will. It's not going to be too huge also, but it will be slightly more than this implementation.
Yeah,
Yeah, but that I think will also pass in the VD code.
yeah, I couldn't be because both are almost n square only. I mean n cross.
No, this is m by n.
Yeah, and
So
the
that will be slightly
constraints are
more than
small.
that. Yeah, constraint also small. That's right.
Yeah.